This is kind of exciting to actually be filming in this place, and that's not just like editing Janelle popping in. So I'm kind of excited for this. Hello everyone, my name is Janelle and welcome back to my channel. Today it's gonna get a little, not controversial, but we're just gonna be sharing things, talking about different fandoms and stuff I'm a part of. It's gonna be great. Also, if you hear any like barking or any like children screaming, those are like my neighbors. There's a lot of dogs around and there's a lot of kids, and I don't know why they're making so much noise right now. Today I'm going to be talking about my ult list as of right now. So basically the way that this video is going to be formatted is I'm going to have like my top 10 and then honorable mentions. My top 10 consists of mostly boy groups, and that's because I am mostly a boy group stan. I do stan a couple of girl groups, and there are some female idols that I will also list later in the video, but the majority of them in my top 10, and that's just because that's my personal preference. I do stan girl groups, I just prefer most of the time I prefer boy groups. But yeah, I'm really excited to be sharing this. This is basically like what fandoms I'm a part of and like groups that I'm really into right now and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's go ahead and get started. So number 10 on my list is Joochan from Golden Child. He is also a 99 liner. His birthday is actually, my birthday's in July, in early July. His birthday is like July 31st, so I think that's really funny. He is such an underrated vocalist. Golden Child in general is just a super underrated group, and I absolutely adore them with my entire chest. Joochan in particular, his voice is so heavenly. Actually, on one of their newest albums, he has a solo song on it, and it's absolutely beautiful. I have met Golden Child. I met them when I went to KCON 2018, and they're super sweet in person. He was absolutely beautiful. Funnily enough, he wasn't my original bias. My original bias was Soonyoung, and then KCON happened and Joochan stole my heart. Number 9 is Kim Hyun from Super Junior. So I always make this joke because I love Super Junior. I know I am not as vocal of being a fan of Super Junior as I am in some other groups. Like I know I always talk about 17, I know I always talk about Stray Kids, EXO. Super Junior I'm actually a really big fan of as well. Kim Hyun is my ultimate bias. It should be Untitled, I just call him by his name, Hyukjae. It should be Hyukjae, but every single time I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna be my ult. Hyun does something that makes me like re-fall in love with him. It's a different kind of bias than like Mark Lee. I don't know, I see Hyun as more of like my drunken uncle kind of figure. That's how I see of most of Super Junior, just like overprotective dads, because that's what they are. I absolutely adore him, and I think he is one of the sweetest human beings alive. He's got such a good heart. His voice is so underrated. Like his vocals I think are so underrated. I know everybody knows him from like Variety and stuff. He is on like Knowing Brothers, and he has done a ton of MCing, and he's been in a ton of variety shows, but he as a musician as well is fantastic. His song, I believe it's called Sweet Dream with Kyunghoon. If you haven't heard it, it's amazing. He actually like wrote the lyrics to that, I believe. I don't know if he composed the whole song, but I know for sure he wrote the lyrics, and it's absolutely stunning. Also, he's dating Momo from Twice, and like that's good for him, sis. I'm more jealous of Kim Hyun for dating Momo than I am for Momo dating Kim Hyun. Number 8 is the other Mark. It's Mark Tuan of GOT7. Yes, it's hard being a double Mark stan because, you know, they're like, oh, I love Mark. Oh, which one? Oh, the one that speaks English. Yeah, which one? The one with the Thai member and the member from Hong Kong. Which one? The one that lived in America? Yeah, which one? Oh, the rapper in that one group. Yeah, which one? It's so hard being a double Mark stan, but I mean, it also applies. Like, I love them both. Mark Tuan, in particular, has a very special place in my heart. He is the first bias that I've ever had that made me stray away from EXO. Like, GOT7 was the first group. I also don't talk about them as much. GOT7 was the first group where I was, like, in love with EXO, and then I was in love with GOT7. Like, Mark Tuan, I think, was my first ult in K-pop at the moment. He was my first ult that wasn't in EXO. He just has this very special place in my heart. He has D ranks just because I'm not as into GOT7 as I probably should be. Now that I've been further into K-pop, like, he's just D ranked. I still absolutely adore him with all of my heart. Number 7 on the list is Onew or Jinki from SHINee. He is SHINee's leader. He also has some really, I think, underrated vocals. I know everybody talks about Chonghyun's vocals, bless his heart. I know everybody talks about, you know, Taemin's voice. Everyone talks about like Mino and how like beautiful he is, which I mean, like, yeah, all of those things are true. Jinki tends to go overlooked a lot in my opinion. I absolutely adore him. One, if you think he's the normal member of SHINee, you're so wrong. You're absolutely so wrong. His voice is incredible. His tone is really something else. And he's performed in a lot of musicals. Something about the way that he sings, like the emotion that he portrays and just everything that he conveys into his singing ability is just, it's amazing. He's also a really great leader. I think, you know, SHINee's been through a lot within the past few years and he's been incredible at trying to control SHINee because they're also really something else. Number 6 on the list is Kang Daniel. He is also D-ranked. Right now he's a solo artist, but I knew him from 101. I did want him to be in 101 originally. I'm still mad Samuel didn't make it in. I will forever be bitter, but I am glad that Daniel got in. I actually do really like him. He has D-ranked. He used to be Love of My Life number 3, and then I just got into so many other groups, like really got into so many other groups. I'm so glad that he's like his own CEO and doing his own thing. Stan Kang Daniel like as a solo artist and Stan 101. His album Magenta is like fire. Who You Are is incredible. I remember I got that as an ad once when I was watching a YouTube video and I cried the whole time because he's beautiful and I've missed him performing and I know he's missed it too. I mentioned this in the Stray Kids video where I gave up my 101 high touch during KCON 2018 for my friend Kayla so she could meet Stray Kids. So I didn't meet 101, but she was watching one of his live streams, Daniel's, and she told him about the story and he's like, it's okay, don't worry, I'll come back to New York for your friend. So Daniel's coming back to New York for me. Number 5 on the list, he's I think the most recent person in the top 10 list. It is Jisung from Stray Kids. He is actually the exception to my bias rule. Or one of the exceptions at least to my bias rule. Usually I bias people that are older than me. He is a year younger and he is one of my only exceptions. He actually on this list is the only person that is younger than me that's not the same age. Like Joochan's younger than me, but we were born in 99. But I think he is a fantastic vocalist. He's a fantastic rapper. He's so soft and so baby, but also he goes so hard, especially when his hair is dyed black. Don't even get me started, bro. He's such a versatile performer. I think he can do pretty much everything. He's also a little dumb. That's okay, because I'm also a little dumb. So it works out perfectly. Number 4 on the list. Now, this is someone who is also D-ranked. It is Yoo Kihyun from Monsta X. He only D-ranked by 1 because he was originally 3. He's the first person that D-ranked Kang Daniel. He is the main vocal of Monsta X, and I think his vocals are really unique. He has a very distinctive tone and it's absolutely stunning. It is so beautiful. If you've never heard him sing, oh my god, you need to. Like, I know during the Monsta X survival show No Mercy, he sings Heya by Chonghyun, and it is absolutely beautiful, so emotional. I will also link that down below so you guys can go check them out. I'll be linking like all of these people that I'm talking about and their like respective groups or like their respective like Spotify artist thing down below so you can check all of them out. His voice is something that's like, I think everybody here has a very unique tone, but I think Kihyun is one of the ones that has a super unique tone. Like you hear him sing and there's either only a few people or there's no one like him. It's really special. One of the famous OSTs that everybody sings is Beautiful by Crush, I think it is. It's from Goblin. I think he did it at a KCON Mexico, I think. But he sang that cover and it is still my favorite to this day. Like, gives me chills. Also, he's kind of dumb, especially when he's in the American interviews. He's a little silly and he's a little something else. Number 3 on the list. This is actually really hard. Honestly, if you've watched my videos for a while now, my top 3 comes as literally a surprise. Actually, like my top 5 comes as a surprise to literally no one. But number 3 is Kwon, Soonyoung, or Hoshi from 17. 17 is so hard for me to rank because every single time I think I have a bias, I don't. One of the only people that's been consistent is Soonyoung. He is someone that has consistently ruined my life since he became my bias. He low-key ruined my life, but that's okay. He goes so hard. Like, he puts everything into whatever he does. And so he can go so hard, but he can also be so cute at the same time. Like one of the most iconic Hoshi fan cams, I think. I don't know what song it is, but it's from like their fetus days. Like Joochan still had long hair kind of fetus days. If you search like Hoshi cute fan cam, it's like the first thing that pops up, and he's just so naturally cute, but he's also so naturally aggressive, and it's incredible. He is incredible as a performer, as a choreographer. He's incredible as a person. We have the same MBTI type, so we're like the same personality, and so I feel like he'd be like such a good friend to have in your life. A lot of people don't know this, but he was originally supposed to be part of 17's vocal unit, and instead now he's the performance unit leader. Like it really shows, because he's a fantastic vocalist, he's a fantastic dancer, he can rap, he can do everything. He can punch me in the face and I would not care. Number 2, I don't even think I need to talk about this. It's Mark Lee from NCT. Like I don't think I need to talk about him. I literally mention him in like every single video that I have. Mark has always, and it's not just because I stan Mark from GOT7 as well. It's funny because I stan GOT7's Mark first, and then I was like, oh my god, how funny would that be? Like as a joke, I was like, how funny would that be if I stan Mark from NCT too? Hi. I think Mark is also someone who's like super hardworking. He is in almost every single unit that NCT has. He is in NCT U, he is in NCT 127, he's back in NCT Dream. Part of me is like, thank God, because 7 Dream is superior, but also like I feel so bad for him because he has to do so much for promotions and stuff now. He's in all three of those units. He's also in Super M now, and Super M just dropped an album, and NCT 2020, that whole project is about to drop. Like he must be so tired all the time. I can't imagine. He does so much. He puts his all into like every single performance that he does, every single thing that he does. He is just an incredible person. We're also the same age. I am older than him by like a couple days, like 28 days. Mark Lee, I mentioned this in my K-pop Q&A video. Mark Lee is like someone that I think if I were friends with him in high school, like, or if I knew him in high school, I would either admire him from afar, which I've definitely done with a lot of people in high school, ask literally any of my friends, or I would be like really good friends with him. I would absolutely fall in love with that boy because he's just got such a pure heart of gold, and he's just someone that like I would want a person like Mark to be in my life. It doesn't necessarily have to be Mark Lee, although I would like Mark Lee in my life too, but someone like Mark would be incredible. Number 1 on my list, again, I really don't think I need to say this because I say it in every video. Number 1 is Baekhyun from EXO. He is actually not my original bias in EXO. My original bias is in my honorable mention, so I'm gonna mention him a little bit later. Baekhyun, I know the exact stage in which I fell in love with Baekhyun. It was a Lucky One stage. That changed everything. Lucky One was the era that EXO-Ls did not deserve. We still don't deserve Lucky One as an era. It is iconic. It is so slept on, by the way, because it is the same era as Monster and the same time frame as Monster and the same time frame as Lotto, but Lucky One is like, it's the first song that ever got me into EXO, like really got me into EXO. The thing about Baekhyun though is real. He's like the perfect human being. Like if I could construct a perfect human being, it would be Baekhyun. He's a little dumb. That's okay. He's someone who's so hardworking. He definitely is the type of person to like make everyone laugh because he wants the mood to feel really nice and stuff, which I have a hard time with doing that myself, so I really appreciate people like that. And he's just absolutely like the sweetest boy. His vocals, he's not my favorite vocalist in EXO. That belongs to Kyungsu actually, or Dio. His vocals are one of my absolute favorites in the K-pop industry, and I think he is just incredible. He's really just my perfect human being. So my honorable mentions, these are either biases that aren't on my list, people that I really like from groups that I don't necessarily fully stan, or like a mixture of both. These are just like people, like honorable people that are not necessarily in the top 10, but I still love them anyway, and I wanted to mention them. The first person I'm going to talk about is Jungkook from BTS. I'm gonna like make this statement here. I'm not an ARMY. I don't stan BTS like at all. I don't mind them as people. Like, I like BTS as people. The thing about me not standing BTS is because their music isn't my thing. Like, I'm not really a huge fan of their music overall, and that's the whole point of what they're doing. So I don't really think it would be right to call myself like a stan of them when I don't really like their music. But that's just a preference thing. It's not to say that their music is bad. It's just like that's my own personal preference. But Jungkook is my like secret love affair bias that I don't want anybody else to know that I have, because he is a thirst trap. Sometimes my parents watch these videos, so I'm not gonna go like not suitable for work, but like Jungkook makes me so like, if all of them make me feel, like he like makes me feel. What I think about a lot is his performance of Rainism by Rain, which first of all, I love that song. But Jungkook in that performance, like, big nut. I don't, like, he makes me sweat. Like, I'm sweating right now. One, because it's hot in my house. But two, he makes me, like, legitimately sweat. It's really bad. Another honorable mention is Jihoon from 17, otherwise known as Woozy. 17, it was really hard to rank for me. Jihoon is like the exception. Like, Soonyoung is on my ult list, but it depends on the era, because sometimes Jihoon gets real close to kicking him out of that spot. Like, it really, they are like legitimately like neck and neck. It's honestly, I might as well just have Soonyoung slash Jihoon. Jihoon's the producer of 17, so he produces all the songs, he composes all the songs, he writes the lyrics to all the songs. He doesn't arrange every single song, but he does most of the arrangements. But he owns my whole heart. Like, he owns my whole body. He and Soonyoung are really battling it out for that top spot. Especially when one of them has black hair, like, it's over for me. It's a whole fight. Next person on the list is, he is the spaz in my graph. It is Luhan, a former member of EXO. He is one of the Chinese members that left back in 2014. He is the only person other than Mark Lee who can come close to touching Baekhyun for that ult spot. Mark Tuan, I know I said that he was the first person that made me realize that there was life outside of EXO, but because he's deranked over the years, like right now, as I am right now, I could totally regret this. Like, next year it'll be like Mark Tuan is my ult again. But right now, Luhan is like the only person who can even come close. It's him, Baekhyun, and Mark, but like Luhan, he's one of the first people that I had to have like a whole separate list for, because it's just like, if you ask me to choose between like Luhan and Baekhyun, that's such a hard decision for me, which is why he's in my honorable mentions. I miss him in EXO, but I understand why he did it. And his music, some of it is good, some of it is. I think he's a fantastic musician. I'm happy he left EXO because he is doing so much for himself. Like, good for him. I'm so happy for him. The next person on my list is my original EXO bias, and that's why he's on this list. It is Chanyeol. He was my original K-pop bias. Like, the first person, when I got into K-pop, the first person that really stuck out to me was Chanyeol. It was him and Kyungsoo for a bit before it like settled. I actually still don't have an EXO bias right now, because quite frankly, like, the only thing stable in my bias list for EXO is that Baekhyun is number 1, and that's it. Like, literally there is no other sense of stability in that. Chanyeol holds a very special place in my heart because he is my very first K-pop bias. I still absolutely adore him to this day. He is someone I would also like to be best friends with. His voice is really unique because his voice goes really deep, but it's so soulful still. Sometimes deep voices kind of sound like a little bit empty, a little robotic, but he has so much soul and so much heart, and he's a fantastic musician, and I absolutely adore him. Next is Taemin. Taemin from SHINee, yes, that one. Taemin's actually my original SHINee bias. I eventually changed it to Jinki because Jinki stole my heart a little bit more, but Taemin is still like, he is the actual visual representation of what art is. He's a little dumb, but that's okay. I love him anyway. I saw him when I saw Super M in concert, and I saw Danger, which is like his solo debut. It was like actual art. It was an incredible masterpiece. I would not have survived if he had done Press Your Number. I'm saying that right now. If he had done Press Your Number at that concert, I wouldn't have survived. I would have been dead on the floor. Next is Chani from SF9. I don't mention SF9 as much as I should on this channel. I'm actually a pretty big fan of them. I'm trying to get more into SF9. I really like them. Chani is my bias. Chani is also one of the other exceptions to the rule. He is also a 2000 liner. He's actually friends with Hyunjin from Stray Kids because they MC together on Mucore. He almost made my top 10. Like, it's him and Joochan that are like currently fighting for that spot right now. I don't know what it is about Chani. His dancing style is very different. I know Fantasies, that's SF9's fandom name. Fantasies are like between him and Taeyang, who is another one of the main dancers. Taeyang is very much like super powerful, super hardcore, like goes and gives it his all. And I've seen Fantasies describe Chani's dancing as like really good but doesn't want to be here. I could absolutely see that because his style is very unique in the sense of like, it's not like hard-hitting powerful all the time, but it's still powerful, very fluid. Like him and RPM, oh my god. Him and RPM, his dancing like in the very last chorus when he's like turned around, I will like insert a clip of what I'm talking about so you can see, but like here's the clip. That's my favorite part of the choreography because there's something about the way that he does it, and it's not for a reason that like it's like, oh, because his butt looks nice, which like, yeah, it does, but if there's something about his movement and the fluidity of his movements that's just incredible, but it's also so unique at the same time. Like totally a slept on dancer, I think. Next is Kim Taeyeon. Taeyeon from Soonyoung, Girls' Generation. She's the leader. She's also one of the main vocalists. She can step on me. If I had to choose between like her and Baekhyun, it would be her. And it's funny because they actually dated at one point. I actually thought they were cute, not gonna lie. So it's funny that he's my ult for the guys and Taeyeon is my ult for all the girls because it's like, that's kind of awkward because they're like exes, you know? I think her voice is really unique. I think it's so special. Her tone is incredible. She's also just such a great person. I know she's battling with depression, and I remember seeing something on Instagram where someone was like, how do you like battle your depression? Like, how do you face it? And she's like, I don't. I just kind of let it consume me. Like, it's really worrying. Taeyeon worries me a lot, especially because she's lost so many friends in the past few years, but Taeyeon is like, I relate to her a lot. I can't sing as well as she can. I can't sing nearly as well as she can. She has my heart. She truly does. And I think she is one of the best vocalists in K-pop. There's actually two of them. I'm putting them in the same thing because they're in the same group. It's Seulgi and Wendy from Red Velvet. I also don't talk about Red Velvet as much on my channel, but I do absolutely love them. I've seen them live as well. KCON 2018, and they were incredible. I think she is, in my opinion, Wendy has the best stage performance. I think Wendy is the best vocalist of her generation, and I think Seulgi, along with Momo and Lisa, Momo from Twice, Lisa from Blackpink, I think those three are the best dancers of this generation. I also think Seulgi's got like a beautiful voice. She did an OST. I don't know what drama it was for, but it's called Always, and it's absolutely stunning. And I also know that Wendy and Seulgi did a collab video with Kangta from Hot. It's absolutely beautiful. I actually featured them in a presentation that I did last year, my junior year of college, mostly because I wanted to talk about Taemin. I showcased them actually because I absolutely adore them, and their personalities are so much fun. Like, I would want to be friends with Red Velvet because they're like so savage, but at the same time they're just really fun. Also, I get triggered anytime there's like red velvet cake or something, or like a red velvet flavor, because I'm trash like that. Next is a group that's not really talked about. I think more people know them from random play dances, but most people don't stan them like on their own. It's Wiki Mickey. So my favorite member is Hyujung. She was part of IOI as well for the first season of Produce 101. I've loved her since then. I love her dancing style. She's also, I think I'm taller than her. Don't quote me on that, but I think I'm taller than her, and that's a feat considering I'm taller than nobody. She's like super adorable, but she's also super fierce. She's like everything I wish I could be. Still like cute and fun and lovable, but also like super fierce and can be super dark. Like, I'm one or the other depending on who you meet. I'm mostly just angry all the time. I think she's also one of the best dancers of her generation. I think Wiki Mickey in general is super underrated, but I think she is absolutely an incredible dancer and totally slept on. Next is Joochan. She is from formerly from Pristin, because fuck you, Pledis. They did Pristin so dirty. I'm never gonna get over it. Joochan, I fell in love with also during Produce. She's also in IOI. Her and Nayoung. I also got to know her a little bit better when she was a dance mentor on Idol Producer season 1. That's like where I really fell in love with her. I never call her by her Korean name. I know she goes by Pinky. I've never called her that. I've always called her by her Chinese name. I'm probably butchering the shit out of it, and I'm so sorry to my queen. I think she's a fantastic dancer, also super underrated. Her and What a Man by IOI is like, she's the one who catches my eye. Like, I think she's an incredible performer, and I think she deserves so much more than Pledis is giving her. The last female artist I'm going to talk about is Ailee. So she's a solo artist. I think she's also one of the most underrated vocals in K-pop, period. I know she's won a Mama for I Will Go To You Like the Snow. That's an OST as well. Her tone is fantastic. The way she sings, the way she presents herself. Ailee is such an inspiration to me. She is so iconic, and she is absolutely beautiful. Like, she's got such a beautiful heart, and like, I would absolutely love to be friends with Ailee. She also grew up in America for a while, and I think she got scouted to Korea for K-pop. I adore her, and I would love to be friends with her. But the last 2 honorable mentions are not K-pop idols, they are Chinese idols, but I love them just the same. One of them is Wenjun. He's from the group Next, which is under Yuha Entertainment. It's, if you've seen Idol Producer season 1, it is all the boys that were under Yuha Entertainment. It sucks that he didn't make it into 9%, but what 9%, like, after that show, like, didn't do anything. And 2, he got to debut in an actual group. His voice is really something else. And his yo-yo skills, I've never met someone who can legitimately do that. I haven't met him either. I've never like genuinely seen someone who's like that good at yo-yo. It's kind of incredible. I'm kind of in love with him all over again. Like, the more I talk about him, the more I'm thinking about him in my head and going, oh my god, he's beautiful. I think he's an incredible vocalist. I think he also has a really kind heart. And the last honorable mention and the last person that I'll be talking about is Tsai Shukun. He is the center of 9%. He's also a solo artist. He also makes me thirsty, but he's also like so baby. I also know him from Idol Producer. He like shows up in like this fishnet type top, and he's like so fierce, and like he wrote a song. It's called I Want to Get Love. If you listen to it, I'll link it down below. Like, you need to listen to it and then read the lyrics and tell me like, okay, that's like it's a lot. One of the lyrics translates to like, I need your body, baby girl, or something like that. Like, okay, sis. He also is so baby at the same time. Like, you would never believe they're the same person. Like, he is the definition of duality. But he's also just a great performer and has so much passion for the stage. It is editing Janella here because of course it is. And this is probably the worst I've ever looked, but that's okay. So basically, I have a new addition to my not really ult list. This is more to my honorable mentions, and I just wanted to do this like and pop this in because it is something that has recently occurred, and I thought that I really wanted to talk about it. So I have recently started standing CLC, like officially standing CLC, and I don't really have a bias yet. I am kind of like, if you follow me on Twitter, I have kind of been updating my status of like, oh yeah, me becoming a Cheshire and talking about the experience and stuff. Everybody in the fandom's really nice, and I absolutely adore CLC so freaking much. I don't really have a bias yet. All I know is that I saw a fan cam of Soonyoung doing, I think it was in Helicopter, and then I saw one in Me, and she's like genuinely making me question my identity. Like, I'm legitimately having a crisis. I'm still trying to get to know all of the members by name and stuff. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm definitely trying, and I absolutely adore them. They're also low-key making me want to stand Pentagon. But yeah, so yeah, that was my ultimate bias list as of right now, as of 2020, we'll say. I don't think really it's gonna change unless I stan more groups. Obviously, I appreciate and I love every single other member. This is just like my ultimate bias list. My bias list is even, like my regular bias list is even worse because I've justified like like in 17, I have a bias for every single unit. That's the same thing for NCT. This is a fun video to film. I'm like very excited for this. I love talking about my biases anyway, and I love sharing groups and stuff. If you guys have any recommendations for any groups I should check out, leave it down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about my bias list. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, comment down below, subscribe if you want to, and if you really want to, you can hit the bell so you can see when I upload with post notifications, or you can follow me on all of my socials. My Twitter is janellethekid, my Instagram is janellethekidvlogs, and my Tumblr is swimmingismywholelife.tumblr.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day, night, afternoon, year, month, whenever the hell you're watching this. I hope you guys are all staying safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!